What is the next step for the Michigan Wolverines? Because this year, we all understand what the goal is. Win a national championship. You beat Ohio State 2 years in a row. You made the college football playoff 2 years in a row. And those were great things to accomplish. Those were things that at that point in time were milestones for Michigan. But now that's just the price of admission. Those are things you now expect to do. They were goals, now they're expectations. You expect to beat Ohio State. You expect to be in the college football playoff. You now expect a national title. And to be quite honest with you, if you're a Michigan fan, you have every right to do that. You want to know why? Because you got 4/5 of your offensive line coming back, your Joe Moore Award-winning offensive line that's coming back. You have the best running back room in America. You have a quarterback with elite arm talent. You have a defense that brings back 78% production that allowed 16 points a game. All the pieces are in place for Michigan this coming season. There is so much back to be excited about, to build upon what they did last year. There's no reset button for Michigan. I give you all those bullet points and all those things that Michigan has to be excited about to say, essentially, the Death Star is operational for Michigan. Fire when ready. And Michigan, internally and externally, the locker room and the fan base, they expect to hit the bullseye in 2023. So how do they go about doing that? We'll talk about it. Michigan fans, make sure you're locked in right here. Make sure you're subscribed to the On3 YouTube channel. We talk college football every single day right here on the Hard Count. You love this game. We love this game. Might as well subscribe. Join us. All right. Also, follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Twitter at JDPakel. Would love to hear from y'all there. So when did America really get put on notice about Michigan? Like all year long, we're talking about them being a playoff team and about how they could compete for the Big Ten, but they were always sort of that second place team in a lot of people's mind, in the Big Ten at least, behind Ohio State. Because Ohio State has C.J. Stroud, they got Marvin Harrison Jr., they got all these pieces, and they're rolling. But then when Michigan went to Columbus, Ohio, and laid down the law, that was when everybody was saying, oh, okay. Oh, yeah, maybe we should take them a little bit more seriously when it comes to that national title picture. And we were there, quite frankly, we were there, saw it firsthand, and it was an absolute just dominant performance by Michigan, especially in that second half. And yes, they did what they wanted to do on the scoreboard, but that wasn't really what woke people up. What woke people up was seeing J.J. McCarthy go for 260-plus and 3 touchdowns and also run one in. It was J.J. McCarthy adding that other element to the offense to where it's saying, okay, you can play bully ball and you can throw it over their heads. Michigan's a problem now. Now Michigan's really someone that people are concerned about. And again, the people in Ann Arbor, you already knew that. I understand that. But that was when the rest of the country really got to get a picture for it. Because going into that game against Ohio State, Michigan was not favored. It was in Columbus and all that. But going into that game, you still felt like, man, did they miss what happened in Ann Arbor last year? We won't get too much into that. But that was the moment, in my mind at least. And that was the thing that got a lot of people viewing Michigan differently. And again, that's J.J. McCarthy opening up the offense. So what's the next step then? What's the next step for Michigan? In my mind, it's right in line with what we saw against Ohio State. For Michigan, it always felt like there was a plan A, and then when plan A wasn't working, you go to plan B. Y'all know what I'm talking about here. It's run the football until you stop it. I have no problem with. And then when Ohio State did stop it in the first half, it was J.J. McCarthy saying, all right, let's get the wing loose here, baby. Let's throw the ball around the yard. And then they did that and did the stats that I just told you about, 260-plus, 3 touchdowns. That was when Michigan really started to ramp it up a little bit. So for me, the next step, the question that becomes kind of scary for the rest of college football, what if Michigan doesn't have a plan A to plan B approach? What if for Michigan, they just have 2 plan A's? And it sounds kind of funny to say out loud, but what if that's the reality for the people in Ann Arbor? Then you're scary for the rest of college football, even more scary than you already are. Think about it this way. Would you rather fight a boxer who has a great jab, and then when you take away the jab, they have a strong right hook? That's great. Goes to the jab, then the right hook. You say, okay, if I stop the jab, then I can worry about the right hook after that. Then I can eventually, sort of shift my focus. When I take care of one piece of this, I can worry about the other way of attack. Or would you rather fight the boxer who he comes out of the corner, you're not sure what he's going to throw? Throws the right hook pretty frequently, throws the jab as well. Like, best of luck to you. There's no plan A. There's no plan B. It's just I'm coming with plan A with my right hand and my left hand, and you got to deal with it. I think the majority of us have some intelligence about us and would rather fight the first option there, where I stop one, then I got to worry about the other. For Michigan, I think the evolution of what they are as a team and as an offense could trend pretty close to what we saw Georgia do last year. Because think about the conversation around Georgia heading into 22. Hey, defense is probably going to be really good, even though they lost some pieces. We know Kirby Smart's a defensive coach. Stetson Bennett, he is what he is. The offense will probably go through Brock Bowers and then being physical up front. That was kind of the thought, right? Well, at one point in the season, Georgia has 37 pass attempts a game. Georgia's not worried about being overly physical in the trenches. They're throwing the football. Of course, they were making that a point to be physical in the trenches, but I'm just saying they were doing both. It wasn't a, we'll be physical, and then when you stop it, we'll throw the ball. It was a, we're throwing the ball, we're running the ball. You got to deal with what you want to do. They were balanced. It was a perfect balance. Now, for Michigan fans, I'm not telling you to get away from your identity. You've been the bully on the block the last couple of years, and that's how you've made your hay. That's how you should get down. I 100% agree. But I'm just saying, the balance that would potentially be available to you with J.J. McCarthy taking that next step, I think that's what allows you to evolve like we saw Georgia do a season ago and then get to that national title game and make some noise. And I want to make sure I say this too. There's going to be a lot of conversation around J.J. McCarthy. Can he take the next step? Can he become that guy that's vertical with just pushing secondaries week in and week out and being able to just attack teams that way? That's definitely fair. That's definitely true. But I want to let you know that's an incomplete thought. Because J.J. McCarthy has all the arm talent in the world, in my estimation. I don't think there's anything physically that he can't do when it comes to throwing the ball downfield. Nothing that's going to hold you back as an offense, at least. But the wide receiving room, that's what I think needs to also take that next step. Anytime you ask your quarterback to take the next step, you better ask those pass catchers to take the next step as well. Roman Wilson, Cornelius Johnson, I want to see them take the next step. I want to see them become game breakers downfield. I want to see Cornelius Johnson, the version we saw against Ohio State. I want to see him week in and week out. Because if that's the reality you live in as Michigan, then you get back to having that balance available to you. That's the key word for me, balance. Balance for Michigan offensively. You still have the physical identity, but when I can't plan on a plan A versus plan B approach from the defense, it's a dangerous world to live in. So for Michigan, the goal is clear. The mission is set. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like Jim Harbaugh says, the happy mission is still on in Ann Arbor, and they expect a national championship. And I think the balance that they need to strike and could strike offensively is how they could do it. Nonetheless, keep it locked in right here. We talk college football every single day, so make sure you're subscribed. Nick, Break, Lift, and Heavy. Listen, this is your college football show. We operate on supply and demand, so whatever you want to see, whatever we see you're subscribing to and liking and all that, that's what we're going to try and give you. All right, so we appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We're going to keep this party rolling, and we will see y'all next time. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.